Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of Three Dads and a Console. I am one of your hosts. Waba plays alongside, as always, is Court. Court, good to see you today.
Great to see you, Waba. I feel like I've already seen you today. You
I
had
know.
that big pull today. Big pull, buddy. Big pull.
Kaprizov! Oh my gosh, dude, I was so hype. I'm going to put a clip on Twitter, but I have to make the volume lower because it's going to make people's ears bleed.
Yeah, I think
we are well aware. Thank you.
Yeah.
Much like this podcast. Speaking of which, we are also joined by Pez, aka Greg. Pez, good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. How we doing today? It is a beautiful Tuesday. I do declare.
I do declare.
Wow, we got another one.
And we are joined.
You can't just say I do declare.
I do declare. And special guest, you heard his voice, returning for a second time. He wants to hang out with us again. That's proof people like us. Matt from Assemble. Matt,
Hi.
thank you for coming back.
I do declare. I come back. I bring no gifts. No lemonade. No iced tea. Just me.
Shut the podcast down.
Shut it off. I do declare.
So you already know Matt, and if you don't, that's big market tease to check out our prior episode with Matt from Assemble, which was episode...
Insert number here.
I think it was like...
20.
No, I think it was like 14 or 13. But anyways, doesn't matter.
I was hoping one of you had looked that up, but that is not the case.
I still have, like, my daughter gets home at like 3:30. So once 3:30 hits, my life is over. And I was busy today with working because in Ontario, we're going to be opening up restaurants. So my real life got in the way today.
That's what
But I did make the agenda.
You did.
Fine.
I made fun of Leaf fans today.
There you go.
I did
I saw
my
that.
job. I did my job.
An honest day's work.
Not a
So
hard
we
thing
want to
do.
bring Matt. We want to bring you on because you know Xbox, you know games, and we've got a few topics for us today. We're going to be talking PlayStation State of Play. We're going to be talking some new games, Far Cry 6 and Dying Light 2, and also E3 predictions for Microsoft. So let's get into it. PlayStation State of Play showed off 15-ish minutes of Horizon, and let's talk about it. What are your folks' thoughts? Matt, you're the guest. Let's start with you.
Stabbing dinosaurs underwater. Come on. Let's
Seriously.
go. I'm in. I thought it was great. I think like most people, pretty blown away by graphically how gorgeous this thing is. Now, granted, it is it was a mix of, pre-built PC footage, probably PS5 footage or whatever. But anyways, it still looked in-engine, ready to go. I thought graphically it looked beautiful. I loved the amount of weapons that they have upgraded that they built upon. I love the grappling that they had. And that they are introducing new elements and new mechanics. That's what excites me about a game like this. Feels very much like when they've built off of like Uncharted to Uncharted 2, or even later iterations when you get into Uncharted 4, where we're seeing them take that core essence of the game that worked so well, and they are just going to build upon it and expand the world. And you're fighting dinosaurs underwater. So I was impressed. I thought it was just enough. I wanted to know what you guys thought too about release dates and when do you think we'll see this thing. But yeah, overall, loved it.
So I'm with Matt on the immersiveness of the world. It was almost like another character. Like for the first time in a while, it was the last game. It was more of the landscape and the background. But this time it almost feels like you're being one, like when she's running through the jungle. And it was very bright and colorful, not the snow and the darker tones. This was more bright. It seems to be like the theme with all the games that we saw in the last week. Bright popping. But I truly felt they took a next step. And even when I was watching the gameplay, I thought in my head, did they just make this game harder? Oh my, because there's a lot of more mechanics to it. It looked like there was more stealth element in the first one. Well, there could be. And then when I saw her fighting on the beach, and I'm like, well, there's no stealth involved there. This is straight up just fighting. I'm like, so I think they're going to be doing, and this is just guessing here, that the fighting mechanic is going to change. There might be some pairing. There might be some of that kind of thing brought into the mix. We'll see. Maybe they'll do what they did with EA did with Jedi Fallen Order, where they had the fighting was more advanced. So maybe they took some cues from that. And if they did, wow. I believe what I read, it was PS5 30 frames per second. A lot of people complained about it, and gamers complain and cry. Never. But I'm guessing that's because of the PS4 version. And to answer your question, Matt, my guess is they're going to wait till after an E3, and if Nintendo announces Breath of the Wild 2 and a date, they will put it out beforehand. And
Interesting.
I think this game is more than ready to go. I think they were probably hoping for a November release, but I'm sure Pez can talk about this more. But I have a funny feeling Breath of the Wild is going to drop this year, and they want to steer far away from it.
This was the only thing, and I'll just before you guys Pez go. I agree with you, Court. I was thinking that it is for PlayStation only, looking at what it is doing for its rollout of titles, with Ratchet for this summer as its first. I wouldn't say first because we had Miles come out PS4 to PS5, but first PS5 only exclusive title. But if you look at their big tentpole so far, you have Miles at Christmas. And then we've had some games, some smaller titles. What was the Returnal? Was the other bigger one that they had. And then you're getting into Ratchet. That I feel like takes Sony through the summer. You can sprinkle in some smaller titles as well as third party, but then you can drop something like Horizon around October, November. And that clears them for another 3 to 6 months. Sorry, Pez. Go.
Your release date, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first on Three Dads and a Console will be November 12th, 2021. It is a Friday. It'll drop before Breath of the Wild 2, and Sony will do it for a few reasons. One, Black Friday. You'll find it maybe on at Target or Walmart for $50 or $60, right? If it's a $70 title. And then two, cleans out during the holiday. That's what I think Sony's going to do in terms of releasing it. Now, in terms of what I saw, I was very jaded while watching it because I don't have a PlayStation 5. And then, so I don't have a PlayStation 5. And from everything I've heard, I'm not going to have one until 2023 because, semiconductor.
You'll be able to play the remastered edition of the new Horizon.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Thank you, Waba. You've got something to look forward to. Don't be upset.
I'm hoping still Sony comes out and they're like, hey, we're also dropping this day one on PC, but I know it's not going to happen, right? But that is just like my hope. I know it's not going to happen, guys. Stop shaking your head. No, I already know it's not going to happen, but it's my Christmas wish, right? I wake up one day, under the tree is sitting Horizon Forbidden West in a bright, beautiful NVIDIA
tree?
package for me. They're like, here you go, play this. Go ahead, Wob. I know you want to rip at it. So good.
No, why Friday though? I'm trying to think of a Sony title that's released on a Friday, and I'm sure it's very obvious.
They've done it before. Because so the reason I chose the 12th is Nintendo usually releases on a Friday as well. So I think if they take the 12th, it takes the Breath of the Wild not coming out that week because they could either release it on if it's not the 12th, it's probably the 9th. Let's go November.
But
it's the 9th. Or they release it on the 16th, and I think they want to release it before Breath of the Wild, and I think Breath of the Wild is coming on the 19th of November.
And hear me out, because this is something Sony has been doing. Sony has been doing unorthodox release dates of when they drop a game. And my guesstimate, believe it or not, for this game is September. And the only reason I think this is because it gives it a long time, still gives them that window. Sony gets their bucks up front. They get all the first adopters, all the PS5 people, all those PS4 people, and then they'll get the people on Black Friday. But that also allows them to also steer clear of whatever Ubisoft's dropping in November. We don't know what it's going to be. And then you also can steer clear of Call of Duty. And then you're also steering clear of Breath of the Wild. So you just took over September as yours. Even though I believe that's when Dying Light 2 is coming out, but still.
I think you also get Q3 to Q4. So I thought of this too, that even on the financial side for the bit, two things. One, Sony gets an opportunity to ramp up, even with chip shortages, ramping up more production as things are lifting a little bit more globally. They could see an influx of more consoles being able to get out there. Probably not, but they could have an opportunity to at least get a little bit more out there from September through the holidays, because they will want to. They will want to destroy the holiday season as much as they can, but also from the business side, I think that, Court, like you're saying, that September is perfect. That first adopters for the Pez, how many PS5s are in the wild other than you not having one?
Like
How
6.
many are?
And I think 3 of
Six?
them are here. Yeah.
Okay, so we have like 6 people have them. I being one, but Pez will never have one until years from now.
Hashtag
but if they get this
Sony,
to
I'm poor.
see
I think it's 10 million.
10 million,
Uh,
you're gonna get majority of people going for that day one. And if it's September, I think that Sony side, they will destroy then their Q3 because they will hit all of that. And like you said, it will set them up completely for the holidays for Q4. I feel like that's why when you say, Court, those unorthodox release dates, I think that they are very mindful of that. That little trickle that if they can hit that end of the quarter, it is going to set them up for that, and that's going to make that book look real good, and then move them into Q4.
yeah. And then they can drop February, March for God of War Ragnarok. But hey, that's just what I'm thinking.
So to follow up on my other point, which was combat, combat in the original non-bow combat in the original Horizon Zero Dawn is awful. The spear combat is horrible. It's horrible. You're basically mashing 2 buttons, right? You're just mashing it. And I think what we saw was we're gonna have better spear combat, which is only gonna enhance, the gameplay of Horizon. Because you might not be able to use the bow against some of these, bigger, they don't want us to call them dinosaurs, but they're metal dinosaurs, right? So yeah, I'm pretty excited to play it. Will I have a PS5? Only the Lord himself knows, because I don't. Yeah, it's exciting. Waba, your thoughts?
So piggybacking off the combat, one thing I thought was interesting is there are now human enemies that have armor. So on some of the robots, you had to chip away their armor, and that revealed the weak spot. So it's the same with these human enemies. And there were 2 instances where once you strip the armor off an enemy's chest, you can do a kill shot at the chest. There is rarely, I'm not a hunter, but I've seen movies. There are rarely games outside of like Ted Nugent's like hunting and killing or whatever, Buck Hunter, where if you
Name more games.
I don't know. I used to. There's a Ted Nugent hunting game. Go look it up. I used to play it for whatever reason. But where you actually shoot the heart, and that's like a kill shot. Usually it's headshot, and just body registers as like hit. So I thought that was cool. You strip the armor off the chest, and then you shoot the heart, and it was like, oh, that person's now dead. Very interesting dynamic, and it kind of adds a little more element. It's not just like, oh, shoot this guy. It's like, no, there's strategy against some of these human enemies, and they're typically smarter than the robot ones, less predictable. At least they were in the last game. So I don't know. It looks great. It looks great. I mean, what more can you ask for? And they had like other like goo bombs that like stop the dino in place. They're definitely building upon it, like it was mentioned before.
Oh, what they're doing is so they focused on the core aspect of Horizon Zero Dawn, and now that is pretty much refined, and now they get to expand on this refined experience that really anyone that has played it has really enjoyed, right? I don't think I've ever heard anyone come back and be like, ooh, Horizon Zero Dawn's pretty bad. Not Matt.
I tried to look up Ted Nugent buck hunting game, and I just find all these articles about all the violations that he has done when it comes to hunting buck hunting.
He's a terrible person.
So I had a bootleg copy of
images of him holding up deer.
Oh god,
Yeah,
I'm looking at
he's a
these
terrible
now.
person.
I didn't know that. But anyway, there was a game called Ted Nugent's Wild Hunting Adventure that somebody gave me on a burnt disc. So don't worry, we didn't give him money. And when you shot a buck, because I only had one license, I guess you need licenses to hunt in video games, it played Cat Scratch Fever. Like the chorus.
Jeez. Of course it did. Of course it did.
You need to stream that. You do.
I
did you
Probably
play
get
it on?
DMC'd, but
I played
yeah.
I played it on a PC back in the day. Let me see. I'll see if I
crushing
can
it.
find a copy. I'm sure there's a big Ted Nugent Wild Hunting Adventure market.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's go jump on their subreddit that doesn't exist.
Oh, it exists.
Yeah,
There's someone with a
it's
Ted
called
Nugent
Q-
tattoo that's like yelling at like, I can't believe 3 dads did this to me. They're just deleting us off their iPhone.
Pez, it's called QAnon. It
Oof,
exists.
oof. All right, let's move on.
So it sounds like Horizon's going to be an instant buy. I guess the last question, just quickly for the group, is: did you watch anything like the developer 45-minute commentary after it, or did you just watch the gameplay and bounce?
Gameplay and bounce.
Gameplay.
Yeah, gameplay and
Okay,
bounce. I did not.
I was going to ask
And,
you.
and also, I wanted to add, when you said Uncharted, Matt, now it's in my head that like it felt like I was watching Uncharted.
Yeah,
That
that
game,
first
like
time,
they
right?
took it to another level, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna Uncharted the crap out of this, and that's what
Mhm.
we're gonna give you."
I think
which is
it's
great.
and Pez said this too. Like, okay, the spearing was like trash in the original, and it was all bow because I was the same way. Like, I would just use that bow, max that thing out, and loved it. And it just felt perfect. Like, I feel like that's where they spent so much of the time in the first game is nail that piece, and they nailed so much of the combat. But what I think will be interesting is that if they improve that spear hunting mechanic, I think a lot of that will play into underwater. She will not pull out her bow underwater, but think about it. You can definitely use that spear and basically just Aquaman the world. So I think that they will probably do that and make that one thing to craft really interesting. But also with the underwater aspect, because I think it is a big piece that opens up that entire world. And I think Court was saying too, where it felt like it was less stealth. I agree. For what they showed, anyways, there will be tons of it because they showed off, being able to kind of make your way through high brush and everything. But I think they will try to go for much more of a you can do what you want. And they did push that. I do remember from the original when they were pushing out number 1, they really wanted to focus on, hey, you can attack these animals, these robots, however you want to do it. You can do that anyway. I think now it's going to be like, well, we've established that mechanic works. Now let's make the world work with it. So it's you can go about this wherever you want. Like you could turn it into a giant hunt and be running around and then get in the water and then you're going to deal with something else, right? Like I think it broadening the entire map, I think it's really going to open up gameplay more. But it's underwater spears.
Aquaman is now a verb.
My last
Yeah.
hope is don't take 3 years to come out on PC like you did with the first one, please.
All right.
There are
No
some
one
of us
cares
nerd-
about PC.
I'm sorry.
No one
Some of
cares.
us-
You just
some
get a
of us nerds like
PS5.
to
Then
play.
Yeah, seriously,
Everything's
just get a
fine.
PS5. Just do something.
Yeah, okay,
about
let me pull it down from the PS5 tree and just get all these PS5s just hanging
Well,
out. Maybe reach
know,
my
if
hand
if you
into the
tried
dual-
and got a ladder,
Maybe if I reach my hand into the DualSense bush and just pull out some DualSenses, maybe a red one, maybe a black one, maybe a white
Hey,
one.
well, you
It doesn't
could
work like
get a
that. I can't
DualSense
do
and use it on your PC and make you feel like you have a PS5.
I
what's
could,
the
but
difference then?
the
Then you
trigger
wouldn't have Horizon.
if I don't have that sweet haptic feedback, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'll just use my stupid DS4 controller that barely works.
Why? I mean, the negativity is something else
Yeah,
we got to talk
that-
about here because you're.
It's overflowing in me.
And
It's just
Matt,
building-
and to be
it's just
honest,
building up.
he had chances before to get a
I'm-
PS5.
That's what I feel
and
like.
he
I feel like this is more
he
like
poo-pooed
I
it,
could have. Yeah,
and now
I
he
could have
wants
done
one
this,
after
did
he
not
played
have
it.
didn't.
chances. I waited in
You
my
poo-pooed
queues.
it.
I waited
You
in my
poo-pooed
queues.
it.
I did not poo-poo nothing.
Have
I
you
waited
physically
in my
gone to a
queues.
store and tried to like knock on the door and be like, "Hi, I would like to purchase item." Have you tried that?
Oh man, I haven't tried it.
Like,
should-
like I
should
know,
do
like
that.
I'm online.
I did.
Too. I get it. I just
Well, I'm
feel
walking
like
in. I'm gonna walk
could
to the
both go
coffee shop down
together.
the street. Excuse
I
me,
just feel like
sir.
we both go together and just walk into
I say we
Best
do it.
Buy.
Pound the pavement, Pez. It's
That's
not
it.
that
Pound
tough.
pavement.
You get
out
in
here
your
in
motor
Canada, Matt,
vehicle.
people
I'll
are
say,
finding them
listen.
at Shoppers Drug Marts everywhere. It's like the
Let's-
new thing. I
Yeah.
see it all over Facebook.
So
I
when
found
you
it at
see a
Shoppers
new
Drug Mart.
Shoppers open up, you pounce. You
I say,
physically go and
listen,
you.
Mr. Best
knock
Buy, do
on
you know
that
who I
door.
am? My name is
Hey,
Pez. I'm
mother-
on Twitch. I have 300 plus followers on Twitch. Give me a PlayStation 5 right
That's
now.
not what we're
I'm-
talking about
I'm
here.
sure that works.
All your
Okay.
followers are saying physically go to a Shoppers Drug Mart and
I don't
ask
know what that
Mary
is.
that works there and says, "Hi, can I see
It's-
the locker?"
If I go
It's
to a
here in
Shoppers Drug
Canada.
Mart, I have crossed the border into Canada and I will get in trouble.
He goes to a
Would it-
drug mart. He needs a license in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
In here, isn't it?
Yeah,
My
right.
bad, Court. Sorry, we live in the
I-
weirdo land.
No, that's okay. We're normal. They're weird.
They can't get PS5s.
We have bagged milk and we like it.
Yeah,
Fair.
We have bagged wine. Get wrecked.
Ooh.
we
Bagged
can
in
get a
box.
bagged wine. We can get a box
Yeah.
of wine that has a bag in it.
Yeah, no
You
problem.
can't get like a free laced bag and just get that. We can go to the LCBO, which is the
they
liquor
have-
store here.
They have bagged gas too, so they're all over the place right
I don't know
now.
what's going
That's
on
true.
over
You
there.
guys have your bagged milk. We have trash bags full of gas. So
and no PS5s, but
no PS5s. But
if
full
I
of-
find one, if I legit like walk into a Best Buy, a Costco, a Shoppers Drug Mart, and I find one, I will buy it for you.
holler at me.
You
And
I
I'm
will.
already on as well because when
Yeah.
I go out to Massachusetts, I'm driving. I will bring it for
We'll-
you.
We'll look. We'll
Just
look.
trunks
It's
full
okay.
of PS5s. Just sell them.
I won't. I'm gonna buy it for
You're gonna
myself
keep-
and resell it.
Yeah, there you
If
go.
that's Waba actually would. He's not even kidding you. He would
Of
buy it
course
and be
he
like,
would.
"Sorry, Pez."
I'm gonna resell it. It's not my fault.
Yes.
Profit.
Hey,
And
it is
speaking
a
of bad
Premium.
gas, did anybody see Far Cry 6?
Yes.
wow. What a
What a transition.
what a
So
yeah.
Far Cry 6, it's the
segue.
next game that everybody's like hype about. I'm not too much of a Far Cry person, so I don't know anything about the game. All I know is that there's a guy who was also a Mandalorian, and there's also a dog.
He's not
But
wrong.
What?
Speedy, a
His
dog
name-
with a little wheel thingies on it.
So where does this Far Cry take place, and like what's like the high level story about it?
So, according to the Wikipedia, it takes place in a Caribbean island. Originally, Ubisoft said it wasn't political. A couple days later, they were like, actually, it's very political. Yeah, it's extremely political. It was delayed heavily. So my guess is, for what we saw the very first time of Far Cry 6, it looked like a different game. They've gone a different way with it. And I think they've made it look brighter because the original color palette, if you remember when the very, very first teaser trailer that they did without any gameplay, it was very reds and darks and black, and it was very dystopia. It was something in that Caribbean island, everything was going to go bad. It still did that, but now they've made it brighter. It looks like you can, geez, it looks like you can drive a tank. Like, that's just crazy. It has a crocodile with a t-shirt on. It has a little speedy dog. It looks like they brought a little bit of comedy back into Far Cry, which I love. Far Cry 3 had a lot of Voss was a great character with his attitude. It just, they needed to bring some of that back, and I think they did. I think Ubisoft decided, you know what? Maybe let's listen to people. They took away the mechanics that they put in the other Far Cries with the look like it was going to be a games of service with the numbers and like the counter and all that. It looks like they've taken all that out. They still have weapon mechanics. But interesting enough, they gave a release date, unlike the Horizon Zero Dawn, of October 7th. So that plays more into what we talked about before, September for Sony, and letting Far Cry be October. But it's got, Breaking Bad, not Mandalorian, Breaking Bad, but Mandalorian, but he's really known as Breaking Bad. It looks like it's has a great antagonizer. We're a female character. It almost, I don't know if anybody else noticed this. It almost looked like you could put it in third person, because there was parts where like
There were parts where it transitioned both. It looked like they were doing the walking segments in the game, and we've seen this in other Far Cry where you go to a village or something and you can walk around and talk to everyone in the village. It's all first person. It looked like they were changing it up here, where you have those moments where you're not in combat, and then it will change over to third person, which I think is really cool to at least break that up, where you're not in combat and you can further storytelling and maybe even customize your character more.
Yeah, it looked like usually in Far Cry they have the world as this giant immersive map, but it almost looked like the world is this giant immersive map, plus you can go into these hamlets and towns, and that becomes this different thing, part of the game. I'm wondering about the mechanics. I'm very intrigued with this game. I've really liked Far Cry's. I've even liked their spin-offs that they do. They're fun. They're stupid. They're just, you kill honey badgers in them, and the honey badger can kill you. So it's like so hard to kill. But I'm excited for this game.
I think that what it could do with the third person element, because it looks like from the trailer and what we've seen, is that it is a family dynamic between Breaking Bad, Gus Fring, and the daughter.
Giancarlo Esposito.
That man. Thank you.
Yes.
That there's that family dynamic in there of almost like he is the, El Presidente or leader or ruling or trying to take over, and you have the daughter who is maybe off doing her own thing against it, building off in her own life, whatever it maybe, has to stop and ultimately make the big sacrifice or big decision. I just wonder that if they pull that third person camera element into it, I wonder if it will help the game by creating more connection with the character that you are, because I think that is something where Far Cry Core, to your point, has always had really great antagonists. Like Troy Baker was one of them for the last game, and then Vaz in the other previous game too. You've always enjoyed who the bad guy was, or one of the bad guys, but your character, I've always been like, okay, you're in the jungle. You got dropped off. Your helicopter got shut down. Like whatever. I land. I am this person. Go. And you're intrigued by the story and everybody else around you, but not. I never cared about myself. Like I'm not, Nathan Drake. That didn't matter. But I think if you switch that up again, that humanizes it a little bit more. And if they are trying to tell a more personal story where there's connection between these characters, I think it'll matter more if you can actually be that person.
And Pez, Nathan Drake is he's in Uncharted. That
Yeah,
game
he's
is
in a
amazing.
PlayStation game.
Yeah, it's
You have to
really
have a
good.
PlayStation to
Almost
do it.
like
and it's
everybody that plays it is
not
amazing.
on PC.
They love it.
They
Well,
do.
actually, it is coming to PC. Uncharted
Yeah, but
4
it's
is
not
coming to
there
PC.
yet for him. I'm trying
But
to warn
Pez,
him.
it's a
He
great
can't get
game made by
mad.
this fantastic studio called Naughty Dog.
They made
It is-
games. They made
yeah,
like a
really good
zombie
ones.
post-apocalyptic game. They also made, what was the older one they did? Crash. He's a bandicoot.
Mhm.
He's a bandicoot. You
I
can't get
love
that.
how
on
really-
you guys are
PC.
talking
really
to him
good
like
game.
he's never played a game before.
No,
He's
it's
a
okay.
bandicoot.
We're not. He's a bandicoot, and you want to jump on and around in your boxes, but it's not. It's not a personal computer game that you can get. You have to get this is console.
Yeah, they're inferior to personal computers.
This is like Canadian level trolling, just being so
Just being
polite and just
super
like
nice about it.
well,
super patronizing. I love it.
I hate you guys so much.
I'm sorry you hate us.
Yeah, that's okay.
it seems like you're
Sorry
mad
you
about
feel
it.
that way.
not
That's basically
I haven't
what you
played a
said.
console before. It's okay.
No, I have my PS4. It's just collecting
That's
dust
great.
down by my feet.
Yeah. It's like a foot warmer,
Kind of. Yeah.
kind of. There's
Well, it
a
is like
box
a jet engine if you turn it on. So
It
it
is.
could
God,
probably warm
yeah.
you up.
When I played Ghost of Tsushima, I thought it was gonna fly out of my window. Thing was so loud. Which, eventually when my PS5 comes in 2023, it'll be nice and quiet. Hopefully.
We've already talked about this though. You'll get the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
No, sorry, you will get the base PS5 because it'll be out of
I'll
stock,
give him my
so-
base because I'll get the
Yeah,
base
we'll
PS5
donate.
Pro.
Yeah, I'll get
Well,
Quincy
I'm gonna give it to
it's fine.
Waba, and then he can post it and resell it and make
Yeah.
us. We'll split. the
Yeah,
commission
actually,
on
he'll
that.
resell it to you at a profit of $100.
Yeah, right. I
That
wish
sou-
it was
that
a
sounds
profit
like
of
Waba.
$100. This would probably be like a profit of like $300. They'd be like, Greg, I'm giving you a deal on it. Do one of these little nudge nudge.
And then when you open it up, it's missing the SSD, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, that's
No power
extra."
cord.
Yeah, no, but yeah, nothing.
There's no SSD.
Just you paid $800 for the box. Thank you.
It says
It's a
PS5
flex.
on it.
Yeah.
So I like the trailer for Far Cry 6. And I didn't play Far Cry 5. The last one I played was Primal, which came out between 4 and 5.
4 and 5. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
which was a
Um,
great game.
It was good. It was good. When 5 hit, and I've said this on the show before, I was very much in the I'm burnt out on Ubisoft games. I don't want to run, and I don't want to run. Well, period. But I don't want to run
Don't
to
go
like.
anymore?
No, dude, I hate running. I don't want to run to like in Assassin's Creed. I don't want to run to the eagle nest and then jump off, and all of a sudden 8 other eagle nests open up, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I don't have the time just to run around and unlock things to unlock more things. So I never played 5.
Video game.
It's called synchronization.
It's a video
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, but
It's
I don't have time for those games anymore.
But you can play like the same game over and over again and get drunk as a pirate and throw up on yourself and think that's awesome.
That
Well,
does
yeah.
sound awesome.
Because
What game are you
that game you're playing with your friends, right?
I
If
get
I'm-
it. Yeah.
I'm playing Assassin's Creed by myself, and it's like, hey, you have 18,000 checkpoints to do. I'm not going to do it.
It'll take
That's
you
actually
90
why I
hours
stopped
to
playing.
complete.
That's why I stopped playing Far Cry 3. I thought the story was interesting. I really like the enemy, and I want to see like a playthrough of it. But like getting your hooks into the story, it's hooks into you. It was like, go to this place, help out this person you don't care about while things develop, and it takes too long to get there. It's open world, so you can get lost. And like
But
back
that
to your
was
point, it's
aw-
like you don't care about the player or the
Far Cry
character.
3 was like the best.
I know, but it's just
Far Cry
You
3
get to
was
do
very good.
mushrooms. You got to get all stoned and go in the cave.
There's like tigers.
There's
I-
like a dead.
See,
There's a
that-
head
well,
on
that
a
also
beach.
scares me. But I just want to get to the. I don't want to
Oh,
know
yeah.
all the other stuff. I just want to get to the story, and I feel like I didn't get there.
Pez doesn't want to. Waba doesn't like killing animals in video games. He feels bad about it.
No, just Monster Hunter because they're just chilling.
Yeah, he feels
Yeah.
pretty defenseless.
And then you just bonk them on the head while they're sleeping and just like ruin their ecosystem.
Like with a pan? Like you just
Yeah, like a giant hammer.
yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah.
It's
I agree with you guys though with the Ubisoft piece because it can be tiring. I love so many other games, but at the same time I'm right there with you where I'm like I don't have this is going to be 50 hours of just go talk to miscellaneous guy X to then get thing for go to the other thing to finish it. And yeah, like I've said this to you guys before, like Assassin's Creed games, I'm like love them, but I can't get into the world enough as much as I try. And even Far Cry to an extent. I remember I played 3, 4, and 5 and Primal. I think with 5, it was like I played a bit and then just dropped it completely because I was like, I'm not feeling it. And it's almost one of those hit me in the mood when I was like, okay, now I'm really into going through and taking over each of the bases and all of the camps. And once it kind of got into that motion of like, how am I going to attack this camp, take it over? What's my strategy? And then like unleash a lion. When you put those pieces together, then it really starts to play well. But I agree that if you were trying to main Waba, like I'm going to go from this thing to this checkpoint to keep my story going. Yeah, I can see where it's not that interesting because you're going to be like, okay, talk to this person to then talk, then go to this thing. But it's a lot of games.
I'm the type of gamer that can't have the exclamation marks on the map, right? Because they irritate me. So then if I'm playing Far Cry 5, right? I'm running through the whatever, and all of a sudden I gotta talk to this guy, and he's like, "Hey there, man, you want to go like get my truck? These guys took my truck." And I'm like, "Dude, I do not want to get your truck, but if
I do declare.
yeah,
Get my
hey man, you want to go get my truck? Maybe catch a ride." And if I don't, right, he is going to
Go for a
sit
rip there,
there
but
with his stupid exclamation point and just irritate the crap out of me.
Oh,
I
you
was
want
just
to
like,
go
I can't
down and
do
get a Timmy's, you know?
Hey there,
Go
bud. You
work.
want to go catch a rip? Have a
Hey,
dart,
bud.
buddy?
We get a dart and go fishing.
I mean, I like them, but they're just too long. They're too long. It's like why I
that-
stopped playing like Destiny, right? It was like I
this was
love
the
Destiny.
first.
I don't have time.
This was the first Assassin's Creed, as I've said many times, that I dropped off. I finished it, but man, I finished it solely based on I have played every Assassin's Creed. I'm going to finish this game, not because I wanted to, because I felt I needed to, because I thought the story was going to give me something, and then I was let down with all of it. And I've had the DLC, and I haven't even touched it since on Valhalla. And so many people love this one, and I truly believe it's because that was the game that they got with the new console, and so they're in love with the game because of the console, not because of the game. Because if an Assassin's Creed person, that's myself, who's played all of them, knows the lore, I was like, this isn't an Assassin's Creed game. This is The Witcher. But anyways, it just wasn't an Assassin's Creed game to me. It wasn't.
That's interesting because I didn't beat it either. And it was very much that where I think there was so much hype around the game because it came on the new console. It was the major title that you could play on anything. So everyone was streaming it, everyone was into it and picking it apart. And then it got all the updates as well. So it was getting 60 FPS. And that really, I think, boosted the game versus people looking at what the core issues of it are. Now, to not switch gears, but stay on Ubisoft for a second. Did you guys see Watch Dogs Legion, the zombie add-on that is coming out? Apparently,
what?
have you seen?
So I haven't even got an email about it, and I was a beta tester on their.
It's an alpha for PC right now. Pez, it's a PC
Pez.
thing.
And
It's
I
open
like that game.
world.
Watch Dogs is the game I
chance.
liked.
I
'cause
did
it
like Watch
wasn't too
Dogs as
long.
well.
It
did
wasn't
like
too
it as
long,
well.
and
Hmm.
Pez is the reason I got it. It wasn't long. It wasn't 90 hours. I showed Pez my game clock on Assassin's Creed, and I didn't do all the side missions. It was 104 hours to
Yeah, it
finish
was
that
crazy.
stinking game. 104 hours.
I did see the announcement for the Watch Dogs thing, but I didn't check it out.
Okay.
Yet.
But yeah, it's supposed to be. It's in alpha right now for PC players, and it's apparently just some of this exclusive add-on content that they're doing, where I guess it's just zombie missions or killing zombies. Which I didn't play Watch Dogs Legion. I would like to. On sale.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I have it, Matt.
I had a
I
friend
can
give
mail
it
it
to
to
me.
you.
Fantastic. Did you
Yeah,
hear that, Pez? It's called the mail. You can put an order in for things and you can pick them up like a PlayStation. You could also.
Who am I going to order a
drive.
PlayStation from? No one has them. That's the
Because-
problem.
Looking
because I
online,
wanna-
you got to
I
go
wanna
old
pay it
school.
forward. I got my copy for free because the source screwed up on my Xbox. So then they allowed me to give you $50 gift card, and I got a copy. But
Oh,
speaking of zombies, did anybody check out the Dying Light 2 trailer?
you know I did. I can't wait for that game. That game
scary.
looks incredible. First off, segue, unbelievable, so fresh. That game looks amazing. But I love Dying Light. See, I played Dying Light on the PlayStation 4, and it was great. It was everything I wanted. It was scary at
Why
night
did you whisper?
because I don't want my
scary.
PC to hear it. They would get mad
Fair
at me.
enough.
It was everything I wanted in a game, right? During the day, the parkour was amazing. The characters were fine. The player character I thought was kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Most of those games, the player character, you're like, I'm a husk of a man. I don't know who this person is. I don't really care, right? The
Husk
parkour
of a
was
man.
amazing. Yeah,
Did you
what a
write
husk of a man?
Games for us.
I could. The parkour was amazing. The nighttime missions were incredible. It was scary. It was like one of those games where when you had to do a night mission, you were like, "Oh, I don't really want to do this because it's either going to be terrifying or I'm going to get whooped on, 4 or 5 times and have to redo it."
Yeah, you just run. You're just running at all
yeah.
times of the night.
Yeah,
Great
you
game
just-
to stream. I truly believe a lot of people will stream Dying Light 2.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it to come out. You guys, what do you think?
I am as well. I said to you before we started recording that I went back and looked because my new rule with this gen is I've always been a PlayStation guy and I got an Xbox and I've got the fancy LG CX TV that's got all the it's sexy. It really is.
Ooh.
It's sexy.
Say
And
more words.
I got it on sale. Let's be real
Ah,
here. Leon,
did you go to a store?
Leon's. They had their no
Nice.
tax
Did
event
you hear
and
that,
it was
Beth?
on
You
sale.
went to a store physically and you
fantastic.
walked in.
God
Anyways,
damn it, Matt, you're never coming back. on.
Leon's, they actually sell PlayStations there.
they do. I decided that I'm going to play where the best version of the game is. So I started looking at Dying Light. It's on sale right now in the PS Store for $20, but there's an Xbox Series X version upgraded with newer frame rates and everything on the Xbox Store. So I think I'm going to buy it there for $20 because they actually do. I don't know if a lot of people know this. Do you know Microsoft will match? Do you know you can email them
Really?
and they will match sometimes?
Really?
Yeah. If as long as it's an old copy, there's a whole thing on the internet. I was reading it and I read it. As long as it's an old copy, Microsoft will match. Once again, as much as I can't believe I'm going to say this, Microsoft is for the gamers. They really do push these things.
Ugh.
I'm probably going to buy it and play it on my Xbox because I get 60 frames. If I put it on my PS5, it's 30 frames per second. So I'd rather the 60 frames. It'll that type of game, especially for the parkour. I am very curious to know what they didn't really talk about it in the video. What the frames per second, and there hasn't been a Digital Foundry video about it on what that's going to be. But I have a funny feeling I'm probably going to get this game on the Xbox because it seems the biggest setback for the PS5 is unless it's a first-party studio, the frame rate is locked at 30. And that's what
I've
I'm
noticed
noticing
that
across the
too.
board. As long as there's
Yeah.
a PS4 version of the game and they're just giving you the upgrade. But I guess Microsoft, because it's technically built on PC Architect, even though the PlayStation is, but Microsoft is 100%, even their store is PC Architect, it's unlocked frame rates on games if they can do it. Like there's a lot of games. My daughter and I were playing Lego Batman because it was free. Games with gold. I make fun of it. I got Lego Batman for free. Still gonna make fun of it though. But you get HDR and they get unlocked frame rates playing this game. It looks gorgeous for a game from like 2010. I don't know.
I think that's a big thing, Core, because it stops for me, anyways, too. Like, 'cause I have my Series X and I love it, and for third-party titles, I play there. Unless PlayStation's does something for that title specifically, but I
Haptic
agree.
feedback can get.
Yeah, that's a big bonus. But I think for most games, I'm almost hesitant to get it on my PlayStation because I'm like, Xbox. I feel because already they've proven this. I feel like if I wait or I get it on Xbox, I'm gonna be rewarded with maybe upgraded frames. Maybe the game releases on both at 30. I just kind of have it in my gut already that Microsoft's going to turn around and probably push this thing with an update and give me 4K and 60 or 120 and
Dolby
I'm gonna
Atmos.
Dolby built in, and I'm going to be real happy with my investment. And I agree that unless it's a first party Sony that is going to take advantage of 3D audio, haptic feedback, all the noise in that, otherwise I think it's Xbox bound. So yeah, if you're going to get Dying Light, the lighting in that game is amazing, and I think what they showed off for that demo was with the night missions too, and they have what, the purple light, the
Yeah, the UV
naughty
light.
UV light,
Yeah.
when you're running around. That'll change things up. But that was the scariest thing playing that game. At the daytime, I was really into it too, Pez, where I was like, this thing is fun to play, a different take on just traditional zombie killing, run around in the game. Soon as the nighttime came in, it was scary enough. And for me, I don't play horror games and scary games a lot. I just don't enjoy it that much. I don't like to be just freaked out.
Hey, we're
But it
all
was
wusses
just
here. I
enough.
like that.
Yeah, total puss. But it was just enough scary where I'm like, I got my flashlight, and then the big guy was coming out, and like you're just running. And I loved that element of it, and I died so much in that game.
It's too scary. These games are getting to be too scary, and I will say it. I
No,
can't
this is one I
play
can
it.
play.
This is one you can play.
Yeah.
No, because you have to run. You have to run. They showed this thing at night. They're just these gross things just standing around. You got to step on their heads like Mario. It's too much. It's too scary.
This is what I'll say to you. This is what I'll say to you, Waba. Try Dying Light, because the very first time they do the dark, they let you be up on telephone wire,
Yep.
and you get to and then you're going from roof to roof. They did a very good job in that game of progressing you into oh poop. Like, there is one mission I remember, and I even thought about this. I was like, oh, if I buy this again, I'm gonna have to do that mission again, where I had to run at night and get through it, and it was like a slog, because like you can't fight back at night. You gotta run. Like, you can, but just run. It's just easier to run and run away. Run away. Just make sure you get out of the way. And I remember there was a mission as it got harder. That part of that game is you can get, your guy will be strong and almost be bulletproof eventually during the day, because you get weapons that are awesome. But at nighttime, that's when you realize your guy isn't bulletproof and he can die very quickly. So
I'm gonna watch people
I'm looking
play it.
forward to that. I'm looking forward to it.
Like you said, it's gonna be a good game to for people to stream. I'm not gonna buy that game, but I will watch other people. I'm actually gonna check out Dying Light 1 because people love it. Like, they love this series, and it seems like the story's
sleeper.
interesting.
It was a sleeper. That game dropped in January, I believe it was, and there was nothing else to buy. And I remember buying it, and it was cheap too at the EB
Yeah.
Games. I think also like Canadian money was at par then, so games
Yeah.
weren't costing us $100. But I remember falling in love with this game. It was like, oh my god, what? Like, I wouldn't have bought that game if it didn't drop when it does. Now it's got a release date of December. They're doing it again. They're dropping it after Christmas, and they're gonna December 7th. So what they're banking on is either people are gonna buy it for Christmas based on the name, or they're gonna get gift cards and they'll buy it because they got all the November games.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be like, well, I'll buy this new game that everybody's streaming.
And why not? I mean, I just like, and I'm reading about it now, like, they have like the narrative, it says features. It's basically like there are like different factions of survivors. And I think survivors, like in any like zombie game or movie or medium, that's what's interesting. Because the zombies are just gonna like eat you, whatever. Not that that's not whatever, but like it's like the people that are left. Like, what? Like, that's scary. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they like, you see it in Fallout, you see it in like, other zombie games. It's like, that's what I'm interested to see. These games look too scary for me to like endure it, to be able to see the story. But I'm excited to be able to like watch and like hear about it from like your folks' impressions and from other streamers as well.
And when I talked about it probably better on Xbox, it originally was announced at E3 2018 during the Xbox press conference. So my guess is, and I'm going to buy it actually now just to hear it in Dolby Atmos, because that kicks in on most games. If I can hear the monster like behind me, and just to let anybody know, if you can ever get Dolby Atmos speakers, it's the craziest thing because the sounds are all around you. It's just weird. But if I can hear like the bad guy behind me and I'm just sitting on my couch, it's going to be so good. I'm going to poop my pants, but it's going to be good. But speaking of Xbox, we want to talk about E3 predictions.
So can I actually throw something at you that ties both of these together?
Do it.
I think I think the Xbox will come out. They will show another trailer for Dying Light 2, and then let you know will be released day and date on Game Pass.
I was thinking that's what I was gonna say. I was thinking Game Pass. I totally agree.
Great idea.
It's not an
Wow.
exclusive. It's not an exclusive, but if you
They
have
do the
Game
MLB
Pass
The Show
console,
thing.
yeah, if you have Game Pass console and PC, it will be there day one.
So that's your that wow.
Because that would sell. That would make sure it sells through if they did in November. Because I think that it makes sense to release it in November, but I think it would get normally just destroyed and forgotten with too many titles, especially if you have Horizon there and you have Call of Duty, Battlefield. If you have all the major games that usually come out in the fall, I think it would get squandered. But I think Pez is totally right. You bust that thing out at E3. It's on everything, but you get maybe the exclusive enhancements. Dolby Atmos. You're going to get these benefits on Xbox Game Pass.
And then you're also getting kids Christmas on their mind that I want an Xbox because
all I need is $20.
Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass.
Yep.
Like I love game. Like honestly,
I do
the
too.
Thing is, it's unreal. I wish there was more games on it because I'm not. As we're talking about Xbox, we're gonna hear my E3 prediction is we're gonna hear about Halo like it's nobody's business. Obviously, Halo. I don't like the series. I'm gonna give it another shot. I liked Halo 1, never liked Halo 2, didn't really like Halo 3. Same with Gears. And that's how I fell off Xbox. I started playing Uncharted and I was like, this is a story-driven game. This is a cover shooter that I don't care for. I felt the Gears story left, so I'm really hoping. My hope, I'll get me out of the way first for Xbox. My hope is I get to see Fable. Give me some gameplay. That was my favorite series on the Xbox. I love that more than anything else. And for Pez, that will be on PC, 100%. We will see Starfield. The picture even had it. It had Starfield. It had the planet at the bottom. Like we're gonna see Starfield. We're gonna see Halo. And then my out of the box crazy thought is you're gonna have Phil Spencer. He's standing on the stage, and you're gonna have a box over in the corner, an actual box, and that box is gonna move, and the lights are gonna go out, and then there's gonna be a bling bling, and there's gonna be an exclamation point above his head. That box pops up. It's Hideo Kojima. And they're making Metal Gear Solid.
I love it.
And it is an Xbox exclusive.
Nice.
Ooh, I love it even more.
Microsoft has the money to do this. Phil Spencer keeps having his little Hideo Kojima statue, the spaceman. It's been behind him in the last 3 times he's been on. There's the rumor that he's doing an exclusive game with Hideo Kojima. We know Konami likes money more than anything else. They don't care about making games. They just like the pachinko machines and money. What company has a ton of money? What company wants to get into the Japanese marketplace and also kind of wants to stick it to PlayStation? What better way? You just did MLB The Show and stuck it to them. How would you take a game that everybody associates with PlayStation, a director that everybody associates with PlayStation, and drive a dump truck up and drop it?
Counterpoint.
And be like, see, you can point all the way you want. This is just out of the box.
Kojima and Konami will never work together ever again.
There's no Konami involved. They have just bought the rights to this game. And there's
So you're
rumors
saying
that
Microsoft buy the rights from Konami and then they
for Metal
hire,
Gear.
and
They've
then
not
they
just hired.
they have the studio do it.
They gave the reins to Kojima to do this game because there's already rumors that Sony's trying to get the rights for Silent Hill, and there was a rumor that they were going to make a Silent Hill game. Now there are all these rumors out there and Jeff Grubb was one of them who said it, that Konami is willing to sell off the rights to these games.
Well, yeah, they're making money off pachinko. I think that's
Yeah.
like their main bread and butter. I don't think they
So-
want to do video games anymore.
Exactly. So Microsoft wants to do video games. This is just I wish it would
They're having a fire sale.
That's my
I like it.
predictions.
I like it.
Matt, what's your predictions and what's your out of the box?
I think Court's nailed. That was a good one. That got me all warm in areas.
I threw it on Twitter and I went to Buzzards today because all anybody wanted to do was make fun. It didn't matter whether you're a video game person or anything. Just leaf bashing today.
I think it is all about Halo. you might as well just have Master Chief up there, because they need to sell this game as it's on the stinking Xbox
Yeah.
box itself when they released it, and they had to push it. I think they need a giant win with Halo, like it's nobody's business. It has to be blow people away because the original did not. The original trailer release was extremely underwhelming. They need to show gameplay, why it matters to players, new players, existing Halo fans, bringing them into Game Pass, because I think that if Halo is successful and it releases this fall, it is a domino effect for Xbox with future release titles that are slated to come out for first party. For Xbox to finally come out with, they've had Game Pass, they've had a good run right now. It's all gamer focused, all these good things they're doing. With Halo kind of starting things off a year behind, I think, of where they originally wanted to be, but then to go into Halo, Forza, and Gears, and getting into Bethesda titles, just boom, boom, boom. And they can just keep going down the rabbit hole. One that I'm excited to see more of that is totally gone is State of Decay. That was a game that I really enjoyed. It's going to be for Game Pass, and it's State of Decay 1 was really rough, but a really great core function gameplay idea and mechanics in there. The crafting there is fun. State of Decay 2, I jumped into 1 for a bit and I was like, this is really it's really rough to play, but I liked it. 2, I really jumped into, and I played hours and hours of State of Decay 2. It's just a fun world building. There's zombies everywhere. You're building up your communities, and it's a really great idea. And I think we saw just a snippet of a trailer in there for 3, and I think they're gonna try their best to make that a huge win for Game Pass. Halo is the big one that they need.
And when do we get Halo? November?
I think it's got to be November. It has to be, in my opinion, because they need a Xbox exclusive first party title to come out and not make it look like it's another studio that we brought in and we're really excited about this, and everyone is too. You just got Bethesda. They're not ready. They'll have Starfield to show off at some capacity. But I think
Indiana Jones?
Trailer?
Yeah,
Maybe teaser, a rope of some sort, but that would be it. I think Halo needs to be the champion of that show where people go, wow, because that's what Xbox wants, is like they need to be able to own that conversation. For other titles that I would be excited for, same as you, Court, like I played front to back and sideways Halo 1, 2, I played them all, but like a little, then it started to wean off a little bit, and I came back for 4 and 5, and I was like, it's just hard. Gears as well. I love Forza. I want to see them do something with Horizon where they're going into Mexico. If that's the rumor that they're doing with that game, because that's just it's a beautiful game. If you've got that LGBT.
Well, what was the first game? So the rumor is they're just rebooting the franchise from the first game.
All of Horizon you're talking about?
Yeah. Like the new one that's coming out, it's a reboot.
No, give it to me. I'll take a reboot.
I guess, yeah.
If I get a reboot, because the driving mechanics there's nothing else to do other than if you're going to reboot the thing, great. It's a beautiful, beautiful game on Xbox, and it's an exclusive. My Shot in the Dark, I mean, I think they'll show off something for Bethesda or a couple of games. State of Decay I would like to see, and a little bit more of the roadmap for 2022. That's what I'd be looking forward to. Just excited to see what they're actually going to concrete deliver throughout the next year, because I think Xbox needs that from a first party. The one that I'm excited for is superhero related, and it would be Gotham Knights. It was delayed until 2022. It is not an Xbox exclusive, but I think with the delay, so that they could get things right, I love that world, and I think it'll be fun across all platforms, but I would love to see my shot in the dark would be that, like Pez said previously, it'd be like, hey, this is an Xbox, get it first day and date Xbox, and you'll get pretty updates and all of that stuff. It'll be on PlayStation, but if you want it on Game Pass, we have it available on Game Pass. And it may not be perfect, but a Gotham Knights game, the one thing I always feel like Xbox is missing from that genre side is that Sony has Spider-Man. I want Xbox to have Batman. That's what I want them to have with Rocksteady Batman and doing that. And to me, this would be the closest they could get right now to go down that path where we get Gotham Knights. It's on everything, but you can get it for Xbox, and you will get those enhancements as we go.
I mean, WB is like going to be dissolved or is dissolved, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft could swoop in and just be like, well, we're Batman
And that
now.
WB piece is tricky, right? Because you don't own the rights to Batman.
No,
Right.
you just don't write the game that game, right?
You own the
No,
license,
future games.
right?
The license for that game, for that franchise. But even if you couldn't get, being able to show off like a new WB Batman game, maybe you could, if your Xbox, say, we have the Arkham trilogy on Game Pass. We already have 3. Number 3 is on Game Pass right now. Arkham Knight is there. Why not get the trilogy there on Game Pass and beef it up, and then maybe do something with Gotham Knights, so that you at least you do association, because it's brand association. You want gamers to feel like Batman is Xbox, Spider-Man we know is Sony.
So my question to you is, Matt, besides that game, where's the dump truck of Phil Spencer's money going? Like, do you think they could just go out and be like, okay, here, Warner Brothers, you have all these titles. It's obviously they've got something going on with PlayStation and the Harry Potter game. Just too many times they're together, but you never know. Xbox could just beep, 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 dump truck. They have unthinkables amount of cash. And if they could go out and get Warner Brothers and possibly get my shot in the dark Konami, because they want to beef up Game Pass, they could put PlayStation in a bind.
Because you have so many of the backlog history of titles from
The Lego games.
the
are
Lego
Warner
games
Brothers.
are Warner Brothers. Hitman is Warner Brothers. Batman. You have some incredible titles with rich history, and those Lego games alone, they've been on Game Pass forever, in and out. Those sell, and new Lego
I love
games
them.
they're not for every gamer that is of a drinking age, but kids see a Lego game coming out, and if there's around the time of a Lego movie, not even a movie tie-in, but if they're there, kids are buying it. And if it's on Game Pass and it's free, essentially, yeah, I think it's a huge win. Whether Microsoft says let's just take all of WB, or if they cherry pick, but I would see them grabbing the whole thing.
I would think Microsoft needs, because as a parent, I love Game Pass. I still don't think there's enough for kids on there. There is for mature kids, but for kids that are under the age of 10, you're cherry picking at games. Like, there's Donut County. Like, I'm playing Donut County, for God's sakes, because you're cherry picking.
Well,
Because Xbox doesn't have a lot of kids friendly games.
as dad podcast, I can tell you were totally right, because my kids came home the other day and downloaded it. There's the Disneyland Adventure, or Disneyland game that is literally walk around the park
I've streamed
and
it.
get
that fun?
autographs. Yes, it is
That
actually
sounds.
fun.
You
get
the way you
autographs.
describe it sounds great.
Walk around the theme park. It's like for like. You can walk down Main Street. You can go on some of the rides and do some little activity things, and you can get autographs of the main characters. But if you like collecting your gamer score, you watch that thing for your kids, just dinging for you. My phone was
Yes.
going off because my kid was just getting all of these gamer points. I'm like, thank you so
But-
much.
It's painful, that game.
Yes.
So my
but
suggestion is play the Pixar one.
Okay. But see, you're right though. There are not enough kid games. My kid's, the oldest, is 6, and it's just enough
And
for them
Phil
to play.
Spencer's
But there's
made
nothing. I would never say go grab my Xbox and turn it on for a game for you.
And I think it was when Phil Spencer was on XCast with Garrett Witta and Snowbike. He mentioned how they asked him about kid-friendly games, and he said that is an avenue we want to go down. So I could see them, maybe they go out and get the Nickelodeon game studios, like, hey, we're going to put some games on Game Pass. Because if they can get that too, then as parents, ourselves, we'd be more inclined to be like, yeah, there's no way I'm buying a PS5. I'm going Xbox. And I know my kid, because there's parental controls on an Xbox. I've been through the whole thing.
And they
I went
push
through
that
the app.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go in and you can set your kid's age, and only certain games show up. So I have signed in my daughter, and when we go on Game Pass, it's like 15 games show up, and that's it.
Oh, sorry. The last prediction I'll make for E3 on the Xbox side is on that note, though, with family, Xbox will announce a family sharing pass for your Xbox account instead of one profile user dad, and you could have 3 boxes in the house, I think they will go an Apple route and say for $30 a month or $24.99 or something like that, you will get 5 passes for your Xbox, up to 5 for your Xbox account. The whole family can play games, and then Court, it ties into your point of unleash the family-friendly games. Let those trickle out over the next few years. But I think they need that piece of that is one thing that is missing. They have such a nice, tight ecosystem. It's more and more user-friendly. They have all those parental controls that they put a lot of marketing money and time behind. That's one thing they don't have, is to be able to say, well, mom can be in this one and dad here, there's the main account, and you want to play your big games, your Halo, great, but you've got the young kids and they want to play the Disney adventure game or the Pixar game, then Johnny can have his account too, and it's all parental control. That would sell systems.
Disney Plus does a fantastic job of that. It's
Yep.
the best streams. Netflix does a good job, but Disney Plus does a fantastic job. Bluey season 2 came out last week. It was fantastic. Watched it twice.
Did it come out on Disney?
It's on Disney. It came out on Friday. Watched it twice now.
Yes.
It's so good.
Hell
It's so good. So good. Sorry, Pez. You can go now.
PlayStation's a console that you can buy. It's fine.
I
Never
mean,
mind.
you can also, if you guys would like, you can rip on that I haven't watched Bluey because my kid is almost double digits. So you guys
Doesn't
can
matter.
also do
Doesn't
that
matter.
too. She's not
Doesn't
going to
matter.
watch that. She's not going to watch it.
You can.
She's too
You
busy
don't
watching-
use your
I
kid
don't-
to.
Give
no,
it
I-
give
You
it
don't
one
need a kid.
I
episode
don't
and
want
you
to.
will fall in love.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want to. So Xbox is going to be, Matt is never going to come back on the show.
I think it's the
Xbox.
opposite.
Just to pop in randomly, Pez. Sorry, just to pop in. I'll come in for like 2 minutes. Cord will be like, "Hey, can you pop in for a minute?" I'll be like, "Yeah." I'm just gonna come on and be like, "Hey, did you get your PlayStation yet? No. All right, bye."
just hop in the
You
Discord
are,
call.
you are in the Discord now. You just
Matt,
see it,
if you would
just
like
hop
to
in.
do that, twitch.tv/Pizzelle56x. Feel free to come by
Hey.
anytime.
He always be closing. Let's go.
ABC baby. So I think the conference is going to be open and closed with either. It's going to be bookended by Halo and Starfield. Right. So either like, I think like you'll get a teaser for Starfield and they'll wait for the Bethesda conference to really drop all like the juicy nugs of it. But I also think you'll get Forza. I think you're gonna get Avowed, which I am super excited for. The Obsidian RPG. It kind of looks like it kind of looks like it's gonna go the fantasy Skyrim route. So like, give me all of it because New Vegas was amazing. Outer Worlds not so much, but you could see the architecture there for it. As an indie geek, they'll do their little ID at Xbox. You will get it's not going to be exclusive, but you'll get your Cuphead DLC release date, which is what a ton of people are waiting for. I think you'll get a Oxenfree 2 release date, which is right now only scheduled to come out on PC and it's only PC and Nintendo Switch, but I think it'll come out on Xbox, so you'll get that date. So I think those are the two big like indie games that you'll see that they'll talk about. And then honestly, to me, I think that's it. I don't think you're gonna get a ton of bombastic like you may get your Kojima game, but I don't think Xbox this year is gonna drive the dump truck because they're hoping those first party games is gonna have customers driving a dump truck to Seattle, right, to dump it off. So they're gonna focus a lot on Halo. I think they're gonna focus a lot on this Arcane game that no one really knows what it's called. But they've been in development now for like 3 years. I was looking at another studio that I was surprised hasn't really put anything out, and that is Playground, who is working on Fable, right? So give me a Fable game because, and Microsoft, I know you're listening. Why is it Fable is on Steam but not on Game Pass PC? Like, get it together, dudes. Come on.
And with the PC.
Come on. I don't
Just-
have an
hey,
Xbox.
I can get you an Xbox Series S right now from my local The Source. They have 3 of them. For some
Good for
reason,
you.
I live up north. No one buys things up here, so it's like hilarious. I'll be like, people will be like, I can't get them anywhere. I'm like, yeah, the store around the corner's got one. I'll just go grab one and send it to you.
Very
like,
true.
If for
You can go
someone like
north
yourself,
in Canada.
I
I
would
want an X,
suggest an
big
Xbox
time.
Series S to so many people.
No,
I
I want an
couldn't say it
X.
enough. You want an X, eh? X gonna
Yeah.
give X gonna give
X
it to
gonna
you.
give it to me.
My- I'm not a big Microsoft person,
Are you?
but you
should
missed
be.
one developer, Pez, that Microsoft owns, and that's Ninja Theory,
Ooh,
So
makers
okay.
of Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah.
They've already announced a sequel. They are going to announce a date, and they're going to have a trailer. That is the only Xbox announcement that matters.
Have
that-
you played Hellblade, the first one? No, of course you haven't. You're
But
out
I
here.
bought it because I support the developers. I own the game full price, but I haven't played it because I'm waiting because I'm sad that they left, and it's the last time I can play it on PlayStation. But I did.
Unpopular gaming opinion. I don't like the game. I played it and didn't.
I haven't
like
played it, but I did. Not only did I play Heavenly Sword, I watched it on Amazon Prime. Yes, they have a garbage anime with different voice actors, and I bought Enslaved Odyssey to the West full price. So I buy all their stuff that I can full price.
So Matt, what
No
we've learned
DMC.
here is we can just like bring out a game, put a fancy box on it, and put a crazy price on it. While I was like, I'm gonna support you and pay for it.
Only depends on the developer.
Dude,
But
put it
no,
in a
I
steel
think they're
case,
so talented.
getting bought. No, Ninja Theory is a great studio.
The game looks fantastic. I
Hellblade,
wanted to love that game.
I really liked Hellblade. What I liked about it, not so much the gameplay because it was kind of just standard gameplay, but the audio in that game was incredible. It was incredible.
It was good.
And there were times I was playing it, and one of the voices would like kind of just come across your face, and like I look at my wife and I'm like, "What?" Like I didn't say anything. Oh, okay. And then
It's
just
also
like,
Good.
yeah, I
Waba,
was
it's
like,
also
yeah,
an easy platinum.
That's fine. I was gonna do it anyway. But
No,
yeah,
it's a
that's
good
my
game.
that's my only Xbox news of note or prediction.
So
Well, Waba, you can take your Twitch money and get an Xbox.
I'm not doing that.
I didn't think so.
well, I know,
If I have
Sell
this
Krill.
piece, I have a good graphics card now. I'm just
Sell
gonna buy
Krill.
Game Pass
Woo.
when I'm ready.
Sell Krill.
No, I'm not doing that.
I know,
It's an
like
investment.
I know that the three of us, Court Wab and I, like to kind of dump on Microsoft, right? Because it's like, oh, they don't have any first party games. I think this is the E3 where you're gonna see those studio purchases really start to pay off. And they had some bumps in the road with the Xbox One, and their launch of the Xbox Series X wasn't as bombastic as I'm sure they wanted, but they will have some strong titles coming up. Absolutely.
Agree. I think they need to not shut critics up. Sony's doing their own thing. I've said this on other shows too, and I'm like, I don't think that there is any much of a console war or anything like that anymore, because Xbox is very much just, yeah, you can say Xbox if you want. It's Game Pass. That's our focus, and we're beefing up all the studios we can. And Sony is off doing their first party AAA thing here, and that's wonderful because their games are incredible. They both have value in their own way. I think, Pez, you're right though. I think Xbox needs to come out and be like, here's Halo, here's Forza, here's a Gears, here's Starfield. This is everything in a Doom, or some remasters that they'll redo, or other even little things they do, like even that owns very much of the conversation even after like an E3, where they could have existing titles within Game Pass sitting there or within EA Play, right? Because they have all of that partnered up. And they can say, here is this collection. It's on Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate, and we've just unlocked 60 and 120 on da-da-da-da-da. When they do that, it gets people even more excited because they walk out of something like E3 going, great, I saw something I really love. Now what am I going to play today or tomorrow? And usually there is no next day release, but Xbox and Game Pass are in a spot right now where I feel like they can really, really take that momentum and go, yeah, next week or tomorrow or at midnight, we're doing this thing and we're re-releasing this bundle on Game Pass, but with all of the DLC and the visuals that you want.
Well, look at EA. They
Yeah.
have Squadrons, so that's free on PlayStation right now for PlayStation Plus, but it's 60 frames per second on the Xbox. It's only 30 frames per second on the PS5.
And when Battlefield 6 is shown off on June 9th, Xbox again gets to show off its whole thing with EA Play tied in, where they can go, yeah, here's the entire Battlefield collection. It's already there, but we get to promote it even more. It's on PlayStation. You can get EA Play on PlayStation, but no one's going to talk about it because you got to pay for it.
And also on the PS5 version versus because I have both, right? The PS5 version is 30 frames per second, and the Xbox Series X version is 60 frames per second, HDR, like all that, all the bells and whistles.
Yep.
PS5 version isn't. EA has done a thing where they're not giving the upgrades, but if you play it on the Xbox, you get that, smart delivery. But we forgot about another rumor that everybody's been saying. What happens if Xbox doesn't have to do a dump truck because they've already done the deal and Ubisoft Plus is now part of Xbox Game Pass?
I was just gonna say that because I'm looking up,
and that's
I'm
their one
looking
more
up
thing,
E3
Matt. Like
dates right now.
and it came to my head when you said, "What's that thing they can do?" Xbox is like, and it's live right now. Go
Yeah, I
on your
forgot about
Game
that.
Pass. You've already got it.
Damn.
For the next 3 months. It's not going to be anything extra. It's already part of Game Pass. Go in, play every Ubisoft game.
Yeah, and that would
Possible.
be pretty easy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a lot, but it's pretty easy when so many titles are already in Game Pass or they're floating around. Like you have Far Cry coming out in October. Here's
Think
Far
about it.
Cry 2, 3,
Now,
and 4, and Primal.
And now the new Far Cry is day and date on Game Pass.
Yeah,
Like, think about this. They could drop
I would
the
love a
Ubisoft Plus.
Ubisoft Plus.
Oh,
I like
I
that.
don't know how my PlayStation would seriously only become an exclusive machine and nothing else.
And the like Ubisoft Plus, even if they released, if they said it was day and like today?
Well, that's
it's
what they do.
adding-
Ubisoft Plus does all their games day and date.
Right, but if on the PlayStation, on the Xbox side, if they release the service on Xbox at E3 and said it's available now, even if in that first month they couldn't get the whole Ubisoft Plus library on there, even if they came out and said here are 10, 20 titles from Ubisoft Plus that you can play today, that doesn't destroy the system. I'm just thinking, like, try to think of maybe it takes a lot of manpower to bring that over, but if they cherry pick, just kind of your demoing your tasters, bring over 10, 20 titles that are pretty fun, some uncommon ones from Ubisoft, and bring that in to start. And then they can just, because if you put the whole thing in there, people will get bored. It's like Netflix. If you chuck it all in, we binge it all, and then we're like, okay, now what do you got? But if they just slowly trickle it in for the next 2 years of the Ubisoft library, and PC does their own thing, Pez, and they have it all there. But if you have it over on Xbox and you just trickle in 10, 20, and you cycle those titles, that's a big thing because EA and Ubisoft and Game Pass all together every month will say, here are all the brand new titles you're getting.
Well, with Bethesda, what they drop us Doom 64, and
Dishonored. Oh, if you're talking just Doom, it was
no. What I'm talking, they brought it. The first month they just gave us a couple titles, and then
Yep.
3 months later they hit us like you just turned on Game Pass one morning and everything was there, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, still no Quake, but everything else was there.
I'm with you. I would love that. I would love Ubisoft coming out with Xbox. It makes sense. It's been rumored for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
when Jeff Grubb says something, that's when I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna happen.
And why, if you're Xbox, if you're Phil Spencer sitting there like, well, why am I just going to shoot that off? We've done the Bethesda deal, which is still fresh, and you want to space these things out. You can't just keep hammering them one after another. You got nothing left in.
And this is not even an acquisition. This is just making a purchase, just like they did with EA Play, and that gives you one more thing. For by the way, we got a new thing we want to announce, and they do a trailer for a Ubisoft game that's going to be coming out. Here, Ubisoft trailer, and then dude, they do Splinter Cell. Oh man. Oh,
Watch how we're gonna be so wrong. I think it's gonna be like, what if it's like a much more like conservative announcement?
I
We're just
know,
like,
but
great.
I'm being so out of the box.
It's fun. It's okay.
Hype. I like hype.
It's good
Hey,
content.
You hot air balloon it on these shows, right? You want to get nuts.
Even if you shoot for the moon, if you miss, you land amongst the stars.
And then it gives Matt content for his shows. Just think about it.
That's why.
Just a bunch of predictions. Just a bunch of nonsense.
That's what we do. And that's going to wrap up episode 30 of 3 Dads and a Console. Again, we want to thank Matt, our return guest from Assemble, for joining us once again. Matt, where can folks find you when you're not hanging out with us?
I'm not with you guys.
It's not often.
YouTube.com/assemble show. Nerdy content there almost every day of the week, covering games and DC and Marvel content and some wrestling content in there too. A little bit of everything for everybody. So come check it out.
Support the boys that support the boys. Go check out Matt's channel.
Support
Court.
the dads. Support the dads.
For the dads, come on.
Yes.
Waba, it was there. You just use it next
Poor
time.
fellow father.
I'll put that in my pocket for next time.
All right.
Court, you segue master. Where can folks find you?
You can find me on the Bird app at Court Lalonde, or you can find me. I have been on Twitch and I have streamed that Disney game you talked about. And Waba was the only. And Waba and Pez came in the chat. Pez actually watched for a while. We were playing Ratatouille. Or you can find me in Pez and Waba's chat on Twitch, and sometimes in Matt's live feeds on YouTube. I'm in the chat there too.
Woo. Pez, where can folks find you?
You can find me outside of Best Buy in a pitch in a tent waiting for a
He
PS5
said it.
delivery
I was
truck.
thinking it, and he said it. I was like, "Are you gonna go outside at a Best Buy looking for a console?"
Yeah. Oh god. Twitch.tv/Pizzelle56X. Twitter, YouTube. Don't go to my YouTube channel. Go to Matt instead. TikTok, Instagram, Pizzelle56X Gaming. That's all.
If you want to hang out with me, Waba Plays, you can find me at twitch.tv/Waba Plays. Waba Plays on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and now TikTok for more NHL like meme silly videos. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and we will see you in the next episode.